Welcome to day 20 of the 31 days of I Am Transformation. So excited that you are here. All right, there we go. Hello. So today we are going to be talking, exploring, creating, connecting with the divine feminine. So welcome. And I made some, hello. So I wrote up some I am statements. I'm currently, let's see, where did they go? There we go. Okay. So I want to share some of the I am statements for the divine feminine. And this is, as I was writing these, I realized how much of a balance, so the divine feminine is to the divine masculine. When we have the aspects of the divine masculine embodied, the aspects of the divine feminine can be equally powerful. And so the first one is, I am the embodiment of the divine feminine. And realizing that an embodiment, adorning, we've been talking a lot about this aspect of really putting on the properties or aspects of these chakras. And when we are the embodiment of the divine feminine, there is a very real sensation of this connection. And so I am a vessel of pure, unadulterated divinity. Wow, that's a powerful statement, right? When we walk around as a vessel being filled with unadulterated divinity, really allowing for that divine feminine, the divine masculine to pour into us in equal measure. It's a powerful statement to kind of like empty ourselves of our programs, emptying ourselves of our belief systems that are no longer serving us, emptying ourselves of these, really small desires, right? And we fill this vessel with the ability to have the will of the divine move through us. Imagine the vastness, the kind of the largeness of that aspect. And then now I'm just going to go through. If you'd like to repeat after me, you're welcome to. If you just want to listen, you're welcome to. If you're just wanting to be in this space, welcome. So I'm going to go through some of the traits of the divine feminine. I am intuitive. I am heart-centered. I am compassionate. I am wise with the wisdom of my past experiences. I am accepting. I am forgiving. I am collaborative. I am reflective. I am creative. I am sensual. I am kind. I am gentle. I am loving. I am nurturing. I am the keeper of my own rhythms. I am the holder of truths. So those are the I am statements, and I do have those available in the Mighty Networks Magical Mothering group. It's magical-mothering.mn.co if you'd like to join in that space and kind of be a part of a little bit more of the behind the scenes community. So welcome to all the people in the Zoom. Hello, good morning, ladies. Thanks for being here. So as this embodiment of the divine feminine, we looked yesterday at the divine masculine, and I want to look at a little bit of, we kind of looked at the shadow aspects. Karen really brought that up, that we, as our current society really is focused on the shadow aspects of masculine. So greed and power and aggression and anger, right? These really kind of dark, shadowy aspects of the divine masculine that are not divine whatsoever. And I think equally, there is a lot of shadow work playing in the divine feminine. This aspect of being a victim, this aspect of being submissive, this aspect of being, and I just closed it, this aspect of being putting yourself in the back seat or last on the list in order to be an overgiver, a people pleaser, in order to kind of be in this space of submissiveness. And this is that shadow aspect of the divine feminine, not true divine femininity, where there is a gentleness and a kindness and a compassion and a forgiveness that is so accepting and loving that it tears down the walls, right? Rather than builds up these walls. I feel like as kind of becoming more aware of these shadow aspects of the divine feminine and really seeing that the victim, the martyr, the that woman, you know, even back in the times of the witch, they were the outcast, right? And so we've taken all of these divine feminine aspects and pushed them down to a place where they are less than, they are not equal to the masculine. And this is what creates such an imbalance when we are born into this culture and we see that being a genuinely powerful female is very scary to people. Because if you come from a place of pure, unconditional love and acceptance, people will sabotage that. They will push that away. They will find ways to ruin that because they cannot accept it until they're ready to accept it, right? And this is an interesting interplay of, until we're ready to say, I can love you unconditionally without being a people pleaser. That's a big shift. I can nurture you without being an overgiver. I can give incredible self-love and healing to myself first, knowing that without that, my cup will never overflow. I won't ever be able to be kind and gentle and loving and compassionate to you unless I have that within. So there's this aspect of really being allowed to finally step into that divine feminine, of being kind and gentle and nurturing and unconditionally loving and accepting to first us. Because as we know, the divine feminine cannot pour out of something which it is not within. There cannot be an embodiment of this if we are not being kind and gentle and loving and nurturing to ourselves. So I really want to practice that aspect, and saying pushing myself to the limit of my nurturing capabilities taught me so much about my divine feminine. Yeah. And really, when I realized that there was a list and I was last on it, that was a huge recognition of like, wow, that's not what I want to teach anybody. That's not what I want to show anybody. I don't want to show anybody that they get to be last on the list. And I was even making breakfast. I'm going to shout out, you know, to like tattle on myself right now. This morning, I was like, I don't want to be the slave. I'm not hungry, but I'm going to cook everybody breakfast and blah, 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 blah. That was me this morning. And I was like, wow, I'm doing the divine feminine. How in alignment am I? You know what I mean? Like, all right, divine feminine, where are you? And and then, you know, it was a recognition that I am doing whatever it was that I was doing. I was making breakfast, not from a place of nurturing and be kind. I was making it from a place of like being dutiful and servitude, because that was in my brain. And that was a huge recognition. Sometimes I have to talk these things out. So yeah, and martyr, absolutely. I am a 1-3 in my profile. So I have research and then martyrdom. The martyr is how I consciously give my abilities and share my experiences, is through the place of the martyr. So it's an interesting aspect of woe is me. I had to go through all of this so that you could be healed, right? And that is not the divine feminine. That's the shadow. That is definitely the shadow of that aspect. So how is it that we can go through today and be, you know, use the divine masculine that we are now aware of, be the observer, be the confident. And I almost feel like the divine masculine is so needed in order to be gentle and kind and compassionate. We cannot be the divine feminine without holding our confidence, our assertiveness, our warrior, our yang, our action. We cannot. And I used to think that I could embody this. I can be all divine feminine. And it's proved that without equal and like having that solid pillar of the divine masculine holding space so that I can be kind and compassionate and nurturing and hold the rhythms by having the logic and analytics and observer of the divine masculine. Does that make sense? Where it's like we can no longer just step into the divine feminine, because that's how we became the victims. That's how we were burned at the stakes. That's how we ended up being the people pleasers and the overgivers and the martyrs that we are now, because we tried to just put on the divine masculine in opposition, right, of this strong, shadowy masculine. And yet that they're opposing forces that are meant to stay in balance, not win out over each other. So finding these go hand in hand lately also. Yeah. And I really, like I was saying, until I really dove into the divine masculine last month, I really thought I was going to be like taken off with this whole divine feminine thing and writing a whole book about it. And I just went like, you know, as soon as I like embodied that these are equal, it never made sense in my brain. It's like finally my right brain and left brain have a connection to them as to how important these are. Two pillars, equal pillars. And this is, you know, while it's called the magical mother, the divine feminine, this is the divine feminine knowing that she is also the magical motherfucker, right? Like they're one and the same. There's no longer this need for separation. They're like the masculine and the feminine, and they're both divine, and they both are needed to create this refuge over us. These are the top two pillars on either side of us, creating absolute, you know, creating the temple. This is the roof of the temple. We have our root that is the foundation, and we have the roof, you know, whether it's just two pillars that are opened up to the heavens or whatever you want to picture them as. They're not higher than one another. They are equal. And so really all of that kind of work with that the money honey. If you've been with me and you did the last, the money honey is that divine masculine, and the magical mother is the divine feminine. And the money honey really doesn't really have anything to do with money. It brings in money because it's connected to the sacral, but it's really all about love. And it's really all about empowerment and learning how and the ways in which you are loved and love yourself. So I'd love to pop open this to have some ideas of sharing, and then we will go from here. So if you'd like to continue in on the conversation or listen to these after session shares that we're having in Zoom, again, head over to magical-mothering.mn.co. I've been putting them all in that space. That way people can kind of be a part of these after sessions and hear kind of what's been going on in that part. So thanks for being here on Facebook, and I'm going to shut that down. Have a blessed and wonderful day.